use cases of Web3 through DePIN.
Hello everyone, Daniel from DePIN Hub over here. Today I'm chatting with Murphy John from StorX, a project building a decentralized cloud storage platform that gives people the ability to store data across a distributed network or independent nodes, rather than rely on centralized providers like AWS, Google Cloud, or Dropbox. By leveraging DePIN, StorX is rethinking how data is stored, priced, and accessed. Instead of massive data centers controlled by a handful of companies, they are creating a network where anyone can contribute with their unused storage and earn rewards. It's a super exciting project. We actually met many times with Murphy around the world, recently in Dubai, where they presented actually at DePIN Day. You can also check that on our YouTube channel. But yeah, let's get started. Thanks so much for joining. I'm excited to talk about StorX, about how you got started, and you can introduce by yourself, your background, and your role at StorX. Let's do this.
Hey, hi, good afternoon, Daniel. Thanks for having me here. Really excited to be a part of the DePIN Hub podcast. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Murphy John, and I'm working with StorX as the head of ecosystem growth. So my job is basically to work with partners, help them onboard into StorX, and give them the maximum advantage what decentralized cloud storage has been offering. So that's what's at StorX. We're trying to recreate the whole new way of how the data has been stored over the period of time. So if you look at the arrival of cloud, it was a fundamental change in how the data was stored. The first time people thought of an idea where the data could actually leave from the on-premises to go into something like a cloud, which was a pretty new and innovative way to store away. So we've gone one step ahead, and we saw that there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of disadvantage of storing the data in the cloud. The much more thing was the data abuse, which was happening very rampant. So we tried to bring in a much more useful solution, which is much more secure and can be used by anybody, bigger corporates or small smart startups in the same way. And at the same time, we can offer you a very high level of resiliency, data protection, and redundancy. So that's what we're trying to build it at StorX.
And what is the main goals right now? You guys are already built a lot, right, in the near past. When did the project started? Can you tell a little bit about the inception?
Yeah, sure. So we started working in around start of the end of around 2020, and we launched the project around 2021. July 21 was the time when we launched the project. Initially, we had a beta that was launched, and we had onboarded a lot of users, and we were not actually sure whether there was a market which would exist for such kind of products. And when we started working with on data, we started onboarding users. We started getting feedback from the users that, of course, there is a very good market for that. And that's where we started working on the new version of the product. And we launched the mainnet version just last year. And we have around 5 petabyte of storage that people have already consumed. A very high amount of, we have around 2,500 odd node operators, so mean part and parcel of our network. They're basically community members for powering our storage. And we have investors all over the world invested in the token and form the community member and be a part of our community ecosystem growth.
And then for the people who are listening out there, can you explain a little bit about what is the difference between storing your files on Dropbox or AWS versus StorX?
Yeah, so the fundamental and the most important difference that we have when you use a centralized storage service provider like an AWS or Dropbox or anything else is whenever you're storing your data on StorX, your data gets stored as a single file in a single location. Many of these cloud providers by default store your file or your data in this way. Your data just resides as a single file in a single location. Now, what happens is when you are using such kind of technology to store your data becomes prone to very high level of hacking because your data is always lying unsecured, unencrypted in a single location. By default, if any hacker or any of the it gets deleted or gets accessed by anybody else, he'll be able to access your complete data and use it. Whereas what we do at StorX is, the first and foremost thing, whenever somebody is using StorX to upload their file, in the user's device itself, maybe it a laptop or a computer, the desktop, we will just lock your file with user's own unique private key. Now, this private key is known only to the users, it doesn't get transferred to the system. And the encrypted file is then transferred to StorX, where we break it down into small pieces. We replicate those pieces and then we distribute it all over the node. So what happens is, because of this level, the way in which the architecture in which it's designed, it offers you a very high level of resiliency, security, and privacy. The advantage is without the private key, nobody can ever access your data. So that means also we as a service provider or any node operator who are participating for storing their files can ever access their data. It remains secure. And even if some of the node gets compromised, deleted or something like that, there's always be a node which will hold a similar kind of data, which would be located somewhere in the world, which the blockchain would be aware of that way. So this is the unique way in which we differentiate ourselves, and this is a very unique way in which we ensure that the users is offered a very high level of privacy and security.
No, I do really like the way of like sharding the data into million pieces, spreading around, have like replicas, and then that way you can actually secure that you can always retrieve that file. And also, I think encrypting the files with your own key. That I think that's a big issue, right, with AWS, like big cloud providers, even Dropbox, because you can never trust that they don't access your files, your personal information and things like that. And if something happens, they always give away that data to the government. And it's a big security privacy issue for me, at least I believe. A lot of people share the same idea.
Yeah, so basically what we try to do is in the architecture itself, we are able to provide you a very high level of security rather than depending upon the service provider, all the trust that you have in your mindset that they will not be accessing your data given the terms and conditions. It is like the architecture itself will ensure you a high level of security and insane privacy, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what other ways does StorX differentiate themselves from like traditional cloud storage, but like you described now, but also with other decentralized competitors like Filecoin and Arweave?
Yeah, so that's also a very unique way. So we come from a background where we have been our founder, Mr. Handy Barrett, was in the field of IT. I was in the background of providing cloud services to a lot of corporate customers, and we do understand the nitty-gritty of the business. The reason we started having the main difference that we would like to differentiate ourselves is we are basically an incentivized layer of community node operators. That means we have node operators who are paid regularly for providing storage services. So if you look at the other service providers, if you look at the other decentralized cloud storage providers, many, if not all, are being provided by end users who are just like a laptop, who is just like a desktop, who just like any devices that is stored at home, anywhere across it. So that was the fundamental difference. From day one itself, we thought that we should differentiate the kind of input that we give it to the network that would ensure a very high level of resiliency. So any node operator who wants to be a part of StorX has to ensure that the server or the storage that he's providing is always located in the internet data center. It is not any laptop that is stored in his home. It's any storage devices that he powers in his cable connection and is stored at home. So this itself ensures that you have a certain amount of minimum quality requirements for that. And major of our node operators are located in either tier 3 or tier 4 data centers, which ensure there is certain kind of quality parameters that is always checked. And we do a very thorough quality check all over the time on all the networks, on all the servers that are being deployed. So this ensures that the input that is provided is really very high quality. And because of this, we are able to offer the end users a very good level of service and support. Because what happens is we know the kind of service or the servers or the storage that is being powering the network. So that ensures that it's really very private and secure and very, very reliable and robust as well.
Yeah, I do think that's a pretty valid point, right? So you can guarantee also speed, because if the storage devices are stored in people's homes, sometimes it goes down, it's lower. The person can be watching Netflix and YouTube or something like that. The throughput is going to reduce, and then of course the download speed for the user can go down as well with that. That's a very interesting note. How hard has it been to actually acquire the supply side, right? Because usually when the supply side is in people's homes, it's much easier to grow that. How has it been for you guys to get, the users on the data centers to use that excess, let's say, storage to deploy on the StorX network?
So that was the narrative that we offered when we started community members, and that's why we have a very strict quality control. So if you look at the other decentralized cloud storage providers, they might be having 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 node operators. And we look at our node operators, we just have 2,500 node operators. That means for the past 3 years, we are very, very stringent about the number of nodes that come into the network. We really don't want to have 10,000, 20,000, or maybe some have 100,000 nodes. which are powering the network. But for us, it's just like this 2,500 nodes which are there, and with the users who are always ready to put in more amount of effort. What we wanted to do is we wanted to ensure that the quality is very high. And at the at the start of the event itself, when we were in beta, we spent a lot of time working with all the node operators, node service providers, which educating them why it is different, because they used to always come and ask us what difference, what the hell does it make? Because the other incumbents are just providing storage nodes and you are also providing storage, right? So why it should be different? Why should be data center? So we spend in a lot of time and efforts educating them and providing them that if you're able to provide a reliable support, if you are able to provide the reliable storage service, then only I can provide this service I can sell this service to the enterprise levels initially. Because what happens is this is just an adoption layer. If any of the users or the enterprise will not have a very good support and very good, a client experience of hosting the data, retrieving the data, he would just say that all the decentralized clouds are the same thing. So we thought deliberately at the very start that the supply that we're going to provide is going to be really, really very high quality. And we would ensure that this is being audited every time regularly to ensure that they always remains that stringent. So I'm very proud to say we have very supportive node operators who have been with us for the past 3 years and have been powering a network, and they know what is it to be a part of the network, and they really share the vision that we have in providing a very high quality service to the users.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. Especially, I tested the platform, like the browser extension, like the website itself. It's super easy to use. You can just start uploading as it was any other cloud provider out there. Actually, it's much nicer, I think, than actually the user experience. But when we were talking in Dubai, you were talking that you also spend a lot of time building integrations with other platforms. Do you have an S3 compatible integration, so that way people can easily merge from whatever they're using on Amazon into StorX?
Yes. So right now we would like to say from the day one, the idea was to give users a very easy way to access the service and very easy case to connect the service. So we've been spending a lot of time and efforts in ensuring that we have the right kind of integration in place. We were S3 compatible from day one. So the day when we started and we ensured the service, it was S3 compatible. But after that, we spent a lot of time ensuring that we give the right integration support. So today, right now when I'm talking to you, we have like 50 plus integrations which are already integrated. These are all the backup products, third-party services which you can easily integrate, and StorX becomes the default storage provider for you. You can interact with data, you can interact with databases, you can take backups, you can transfer data. So this way we ensure that we offer a very high reliable backend storage system for all the users who are using it.
What was the integration that people mostly use right now on StorX?
So right now, if you look at our usage, majority of the users, people are using it as a reliable storage providers, basically to back up the data. So when I talk about the enterprise users, I talk about the end users, which are major users, are using it to back up their data. They're storing some kind of backup, because what happens is this offers you a very high level of resiliency, redundancy, because your data is located everywhere. It cannot be censored. You're ensured that you have the access to your data always. And for the enterprise users, like we have use cases with companies, they are using us as an S3 alternative. So they don't want some part of the data that they're comfortable storing on StorX, on AWS. They come to us and we offer them an S3 alternative where we form a very high level of secure storage service providers for them. So there are projects, they're like Web3 projects and Web2 projects who use us as an S3 alternative, basically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, S3 became like such a big standard, because I remember when S3 actually, AWS started, and then they released the S3 storage. It was quite like a revolutionary, this idea like unlimited storage, and the S3 like protocol became kind of like a standard, right? So having that,
you can say it's a de facto standard for storage in the storage industry.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, there's so many ways that you can do things, rclone, SSH, etc. But I think S3 became this really powerful machine that people use everywhere to move things and use cloud storage for that. Let's talk a little bit about the token. You have the SRX token in the ecosystem. What is the main reason of that token and the main utility?
So SRX token is basically the utility token of our ecosystem. So what we do is basically when someone is actually going to buy SRX, when someone is going to buy these StorX services, we're going to tell him to pay in SRX or an SRX equivalent when we're going to convert it in the SRX background. Because what happens is, if you need to have a very high level of adoption, you can't just stick to SRX because it becomes a very big problem for other users to acquire tokens and then pay it. So we have got to have an on-ramp, off-ramp system for people to just pay using any of the currencies, and then we convert it in SRX, and we pay back users who are the storage node operators who come into the system. We power the system and provide storage and provide all the meet all the quality standards. We ensure that they are paid regularly using SRX tokens. So basically, it's like a medium of exchange in the ecosystem where people buy using SRX tokens, and we pay our storage node operators by SRX tokens.
Can I pay for the data storage with credit card, or like some easy way that anybody can pay without having to manually go to an exchange and buy the SRX token?
Yes. So what we do is currently we have arrangement with resellers who are there worldwide. They will accept payments in USD, and then they'll pay us in the way where we can exchange the tokens. So if you are looking forward to having a storage done on StorX and pay in USD, USDT, or any other currencies in the world, we will redirect you to certain resellers who can help you do that easily. We're going to have that payment gateway set up soon, but right now we're doing it to a reseller. So our B2B resellers helps us to getting more clients and onboard users who can then interact in a regular way. Basically, they don't have to depend upon tokens. They don't have to depend like what is the token price, and then they just pay it in US dollars, and then that's it.
I think one of the main challenges for decentralized storage providers out there is the onboarding of the new users, getting them to start using the platform, to understand, especially for non-technical users. What do you guys do in order to get anyone like your mom and pop to understand how to use StorX?
Yeah, for the end users, we have a browser-based interface, so they can just log in as Google or any other third-party tools. They can just log in. We have a very simple interface. You can just upload the file and store it. For the end user, it becomes really easy because they don't have to go to a new system. They don't have to connect the wallet and all this kind of things. Because Web3 is the major, when we started looking into the system, the major problems for adoption was there were this friction which was happening between Web2 and Web3 projects. Web2 projects, people are used to working with Web2 projects. They just use the browser, they just create login, password, and then they just go and upload the file and store it, right? So we understood it very initially, and now all our interfaces are very easy. We are all browser based. You can just go through browser and you can just create an account using a Google account. So you don't even store your password. So you just have to have your Google or your LinkedIn account. You sign up with your Google or your LinkedIn account, and then you can start storing in the file like any other cloud storage in the market. You don't have to worry about any Web3 challenges or friction that happens that way. And for the end users and for the developers, we have SDKs, we have APIs which they can connect directly. So it's the same, like it's a Web3 storage system, but it works more like a Web2 system for developers, because we have to ensure that they onboard very easy. Otherwise, they would never be adopting the system.
No, absolutely. I think on the demand side, you shouldn't even know that or care if it's a Web3 or Web2. You just need to work, like be cheap, work, and fast. I think that's all I care once I store in my files, etc. So you guys started building, let's say in 2020, it's been 5 years, right? It's been quite a long journey so far. What are the biggest milestones that you managed to achieve so far? And what are the roadmap for the next 5 years, let's say?
So the journey has been very exciting. We've learned a lot of things, a lot of lessons learned throughout the way. We had a beta, which we had a couple of thousand users, 100,000 users cross over the beta, and then we learned a lot of lessons, and then we implemented the mainnet. So from last year, we've been very serious about the project from the time when we launched the mainnet. We have a couple of thousand users. We have around 5 petabytes of storage that is already used by people. So that's when we started looking into, and now we completely focus on working with B2B. We're working with projects. We're working with Web3 and Web2 projects where they adopt us seamlessly into their projects, and we do the storage part of it that way. So it has been a very great journey. We've learned a lot of things, and hopefully, the next 5 years is we will be working more on adopting more systems. Uh, at the developer level, we would be more focused on B2B users, where we work with more projects. We work with existing Web2 projects. We will move the storage into StorX. That's one core focus. Been working with developers doing that, and the end users would be having more and more integrations to this. If you look at the exchange part of it, we will be listing our tokens in a couple of other exchanges. Been on talks with them. We should have some results very soon. So that's the core focus. And what we look forward is we should be adopted as a main streamlined provider for storage services. There should not be any difference between us and any traditional cloud storage providers, but we should be far more secure, far more better, and far more cheaper compared to the other incumbents that we have in the market. So that's the whole goal that we're focusing on.
Throughout this journey of the last 5 years, is there any particular challenge that was hard for you to achieve the next step? Anything that you could tell for the community out there? Things that people are actually building all the DePIN projects. What would be your knowledge share for those who are trying to build DePIN projects?
So I think the major challenge for everyone is the mindset that people have in adopting the user. So the technical challenge, of course, would be one part of it. That's creating a project and working. But working with the end users to have that kind of mindset for them to start using. So the whole idea is removing all the kind of frictions and creating bridges between the Web2 systems so that people can really onboard it. And it should work seamlessly, as you said. People should not care whether it's a Web2 system or a Web3 system. The only effort is we should be able to offer a much reliable, resilient, robust system at a much lower cost. So that's how I can make some difference to the ecosystem and people can come and start using it. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense having any technological advanced solution when it doesn't make any sense for people to adopt, or it should be seemingly easy for them to use it and deploy it in their projects.
Where can people go to learn more about StorX, start using the platform, and what are the recommendations that you tell them to get started?
So people can go to storx.tech. That's a homepage. People can go see all the details that we have about our project. They can visit our social media channels, StorX Networks. We are on Twitter. We keep posting. We have a very good audience there, and we communicate everything to our community members and investors and whole lot of users through that. So they can visit our social media. We come up with YouTube channels, and of course we work with a lot of information providers like Hotspotty. Been our favorite. We work with such providers to share knowledge. We also are a part of a lot of organizations like DePIN Association, DePIN Hub, and all such, where we work for the greater good of the industry, spreading knowledge, enhancing the adoption, trying to create knowledge among the Web2 systems. So that's how we work with everyone. And we're all over the net, everywhere people can find us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been really nice talking to you. Actually, we've been speaking for quite some time right now, right? Throughout different conferences. We were in Hong Kong, we were in Dubai. In depth, the DePIN ecosystem is still quite small. You get to know everyone. Everyone's trying to help each other, try to help to grow the whole ecosystem as a whole, because it requires a lot of work to become this thing mainstream. But I think with time and a lot of work, we're getting there slowly. One bit at a time. We managed to get DePIN to become a mainstream adoption, and then everybody start to participate and give them supply, give the demand, etc. I think that's a really cool ecosystem that we're working on. And yeah, just also, is there anything else that you'd like to tell our listeners out there?
Yeah. So we're very excited to also inform that we're working with a lot of AI companies, and a lot of upcoming news related to AI companies. So we're always looking for people to partner with very innovative cases in AI. So right now we're able to offer a very high level storage to them at a very low cost. So that's something that we'll be announcing in the coming days, where we do integrations with AI tools and a lot of partnerships for companies who are looking for storing this. So that's something we are very excited to inform about. And we're open to all partnerships, so people can come and approach us on our website, and we would love working with exploring new use cases, innovative use cases with people, and help each other in growth. As you know, the DePIN system is all growing, and it's if you compare us to all the incumbents like AWS, they're very big in giant companies. So we need to form and work with each other, help each other to grow, and then that's how we can grow the whole ecosystem together.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to invite everyone out there listening to this podcast to go to deepinhub.io/projects/StorX. You have all the information about the project. You're going to have a link for this interview. You're going to have links for their Discord, Twitter, website, everything you can get there as well. And yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being in the episode today. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope to see you around the world in the next conference, probably Token 2049 in Singapore, right?
That's surely that would be a great time to meet across. Thank you very much for having me, Daniel. It's great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.